I told y'all yesterday that the United States will not win in a trade war against China. Hey y'all, I'm Tabitha. If you come across this video and are not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button. I will be happy to have you. If you've come across my video out there on social media and aren't following me on any of my social media pages, please hit that follow button. I will be happy to have you, unless you MAGA. I don't do MAGA. But like I said, the United States will not win this trade war against China. I got me a few good keys on yesterday watching some of the China videos. Now, a lot of people are saying it's all coordinated. It's a coordinated attack because you can't get TikTok in China. So how are all of these China distributors putting out these videos? I don't think you can't get TikTok in China. I think you can get TikTok in China. I think the TikTok in China is totally different from our TikTok. I think the TikTok in China, the content looks more like what's over on RAGED. Yeah, because I remember seeing videos coming from creators over in China, but it's nothing like the videos that we're exposed to here in the United States. But yeah, China is clowning the United States real bad. But this one right here, this one's my favorite.
They rob you blind and you thank them for it. That's a tragedy. That's a scam. That's why I'm saying this right now. Americans, you don't need a tariff. You need a revolution. For decades, your government and oligarchs ship your job to China. Not for diplomacy, not for peace, but to exploit cheap laborers. And in the process, they hollowed out your middle class, crushed your working class, and told you to be proud while they sold your future for profit. And yes, China made money, but we used it to build roads, lift millions out of poverty, fund healthcare, raise living standard. We reinvested in our people. My family also benefited from it. What did your oligarchs do? They bought yachts, private jets, mansions with golf course driveways. They manipulate the market, dodge tax, and poured billions into endless wars. And you get stagnated wages, crippling healthcare cost, cheap dopamine, debt, and flag wave property made in China while they pick your pocket. For 40 years, both China and the United States benefit from the trade, the manufacturing, but only one of us use that wealth to build. This isn't China's fault. This is yours. You let this happen. You let the oligarchs fit your lies. Well, they made you fat, poor, and addicted. Now they blame China for mess they made. I don't think so. I don't think you need another tariff. You need to wake up. You need to take your country back. I think you need.
He ended the video by saying, I think you need a revolution. Listen, white America, he's talking to you. For decades, they've used your racism. They've used your hate towards Black people, Latino people, LGBTQIA plus people, women. They've used your racism and your hate for other marginalized communities.
Hello Black folks, I hope you're doing well wherever you are. Now America is at the center of attention simply because of a mistake that could have been solved early enough, but the whites couldn't hear. The blacks kept on talking, kept on advising them, but they didn't listen. And now things are very hot for the entire America. Let's hear these videos that I have prepared for you of these whites, of these black Americans, and of these black folks and the Chinese concerning this video. And then later on, after this clip, we can come back and have a conversation concerning this particular matter. But first, let's get into it. And if this was your first time in this channel, please consider supporting us by simply subscribing, giving us a like, and share our content. We'll greatly appreciate. Let's get into it.
Pick your pockets. For years, for decades, they used your hate and your racism, your desire to want to oppress other groups so that you can feel supreme. Yeah, they use that to build themselves wealth. Yeah, they told you that you were better than all the other marginalized communities. Donald Trump is doing that now. He's talking bad about marginalized communities while selling you a dream, and he is making a whole lot of money, and you aren't. The millionaires and billionaires that he surrounded himself with, they're making all sorts of money, and you aren't. And they got to be in these positions because they used your hate and your racism to get them into those positions. And now they are doing nothing for you. What they are doing benefits them, and they're using your pennies to do it. We don't have free health care in this country because you don't want black people to have free health care. We have a serious homeless problem in this country. And why? Because you don't want the government to help black people to get housing. You vote against everything that is in your best interest because you don't want black people to have access to it. Yeah. You want black people to stay in their place. Meanwhile, in doing that, the rich people are keeping you in yours. See, you think you have kinship with rich white people. You don't. They look down upon you. Yeah, your trailer park, their luxury. Hopefully one day you're going to wake up to it. I don't have faith in you, though. This is the game that they have been playing. Corporations, the millionaires and billionaires. This is the game that they have been playing for decades. And you've been voting for the ones who support the corporations and the millionaires and billionaires. Yeah, that's why you have crumbling roads and bridges. That's why your education in this country sucks. That's why when black people got on TikTok and started talking about black history, that's why you were clueless. You voted for the people that were against education. They didn't want you to know the truth about how this country operates. And so they used your hate and your racism to get what they wanted done. You voted for low wages. You voted for lack of health care. You voted for no housing. You voted for poor quality of food. That's what you voted for. And you did it all because you thought it will keep black people, Latina people down. And it worked. It worked. But now you are waking up. You are waking up to the fact that you thought it was just black people that were going to be harmed by the Republicans' policies. You're waking up to realize that you are doing just as bad, if not worse. All by your doing. So don't be mad with China when you look at their videos and they're showing you how well they are living. How the cost of living is so low and so affordable. Free health care. They don't pay property taxes. Their food is healthy. Don't be mad with China. Be mad with yourselves. Because as you look at your horrible, pitiful life compared to that of the people over in China, I'm here to remind you that this is what you voted for. And as I head out, I want to remind you, the United States will never win this trade war against China. As part as the trade between China and the United States, China would import beef and chicken into their country, bringing billions of dollars into the United States. Farmers doing well. China has now suspended importing chicken and beef and sorghum. China will now be getting their beef from Australia. Truth be told, the beef in Australia is probably more healthy than the beef that they were getting from the United States. In addition to that, China has halted exporting rare earth and other materials to the United States. Can you say up Schitt's Creek without a paddle? Beijing has restricted the export of 7 rare earths and related materials used across the defense, energy, and automotive industries as part of its retaliation against the United States and Donald Trump. Exporters must now apply to the Ministry of Commerce for licenses, a relatively opaque process that can range from 6 or 7 weeks to several months. Yeah, the United States will not win this trade war with China. And you got Donald Trump talking about, China call me. China ain't calling Donald Trump for shit. China does not need the United States for shit. And the United States can't force China to do trade with this country. Buckle up, buttercups. I see some real tough days ahead.
China dominates the global economy because it embraces what America fears most, real labor. While the West chases branding and financial bubbles, China built an entire empire on actual production. And now their rise exposes a fatal flaw in white capitalism's disdain for work. For centuries, white economic elites have structured society around avoiding labor, while extracting it from others. Enslaved Africans built the global South's wealth, while European aristocrats and plantation owners positioned themselves as gentlemen, a tradition that frames manual labor as racially inferior. After slavery, Jim Crow and other exploitative labor laws kept Black and immigrant workers in underpaid production roles, while white capitalists rebranded themselves as managers, investors, and entrepreneurs. The Industrial Revolution amplified this divide. White industrialists like Carnegie and Rockefeller glorified themselves as self-made, while their fortunes rested on child labor, immigrant sweatshops, and violent union suppression. By the late 20th century, America began offshoring its labor to China, not just for cheap wages, but because whiteness had fully divorced itself from the stigma of manual labor. U.S. executives justified this by labeling manufactured jobs as low-skilled, a racially coded term, while pouring money into marketing, financing, and branding, industries that produce nothing tangible but generate massive profits through psychological manipulation. Meanwhile, China weaponizes America's labor aversion. They built the world's most efficient manufacturing base, not just by making goods, but by mastering supply chains, infrastructure, and real productivity. Now China controls 80% of global solar paneling, 70% of lithium refining, 50% of shipbuilding. While the US economy relies on inflating stock value, branding hollow luxuries, and predatory gig work. Now, what is the result? China's GDP has grown 40 times since 1990. US wages stagnate as labor is devalued and jobs are replaced with hustle culture. America's infrastructure crumbles while China builds high-speed railways, smart cities, and AI-driven factories. White capitalism's contempt for labor has left America with a failing economy, one where finance bros are richer than engineers, influencers out-earn factory workers, and branding is valued over building. China's dominance proves that real power comes from production, not propaganda. The US can either confront its racist labor hierarchy or reinvest in real work, or watch as the next century belongs to those who aren't afraid to get their hands dirty.
Donald Trump and JD Vance and MAGA supporters do not understand about China is that China is in a completely different realm of their own. This is precisely why I say Americans need a reality check, because if you actually believe you can bully China into doing whatever you want them to do, you are sorely mistaken. China has faced numerous amounts of wars, genocides, invasions, civil wars, etc. You name it. They have been through it. The Sino-Japanese, Indian, and Vietnamese War, the Korean War, and the Chinese Civil War. This is particular to the 20th century, by the way. This is not including their 1,000 years worth of history. China has faced destruction many times over throughout the centuries. They had 2 opium wars against the Qing dynasty and Western countries. One of their biggest wars ever recorded was the Taiping War that lasted 14 years, stretching all across 17 provinces. 20 million people died during the Taiping Rebellion. However, one of the most important battles in Chinese history is the Battle of the Red Cliffs in 208 AD. Still relatively talked about today because the battle itself was a narrative of David and Goliath. Millions upon millions of people died during the creation, evolution, and the awakening of China of what it is today. Some of you might be wondering, well, what is so important about this? That is one of the main reasons why their envelopes are red every time they celebrate Chinese New Year. It is to appreciate and to give thanks to all the blood and sacrifices that was spilled on China's soil. China is one of the most diverse countries in the world, with many Africans and Black people and many different ethnicities and minorities residing in the country. Culture is vast, complex, with many different philosophies, religion, and much more. Despite all of their differences and unique features, all of them are Chinese. Their origins, their ethnicities, and their culture is what makes them who they are. But under that flag, they're all Chinese. The Hans, the Tibetans, the Uyghurs, they all have their own thing, but they're all united as one at the end of the day. It does not matter your race. It doesn't matter what you come from. It doesn't matter how light you are or dark you are. Under that flag, you are one of them. Something that America will never achieve, unfortunately. Not to mention the immense amount of support that China is giving to the African continent, recruiting African countries into the ranks and helping Africa escape the grasp of Europe and America. There is a lot of history and diplomatic relationships on why I respect China. But I also have a lot of personal feelings of why I also respect Chinese people and China as a whole. So I would say this from the deepest part of my soul. Donald Trump, JD Vance, and MAGA supporters, if you genuinely believe that you can bully China into getting them to do what you want to do, you are foolish as you look. From a country that has lived around for thousands upon thousands of years, with millions upon millions of people that has shed blood and sacrifice for their country, compared to a country that has barely been around for 400 years, you need a fucking reality check. And I genuinely, from the deepest part of my soul, I hope they deliver it to you. That's all I gotta say. I'm gone.
It's funny as hell how China, who don't even have TikTok, is now flooding TikTok with all the secrets. China don't even have TikTok, but yet now they flood the pages with how people been getting ripped off for years. All this happened because of y'all dear leader Donald Trump. They was gonna let everybody have their secrets and trick people to buy like this the real thing. Now they coming out like, no, everything is made here, right here behind this warehouse, $2. and then it come to us 400, 500. So I don't know what Trump then did to these people. These people has now taken over TikTok, and they don't even have TikTok. They got their own called Red Note. But now you see all these people saying, buy from me. You can buy directly from me. I saw one of them say, you can buy 34 pair of shoes for $10. The real thing. So, Trump, you done messed up on this one. China's about to win the trade war. They're about to win the minds of the people who was buying that garbage. They're about to shut down these scams, what these people doing. So, China is taking over TikTok again, y'all. Letting us know the real grittiness to this shit. Shit crazy. Should have left them alone, dog. Should have left them alone, dog.
This country is very powerful. We have weaponry that nobody has any idea what it is, and it is the most powerful weapons in the world that we have.
You have the most powerful weapon in the world, yet you can't feed and house your people. You have the most powerful weapon in the world that nobody's seen before, yet your people can't see themselves employed. Your people can't see themselves with a livable wage. Livable wage. What Tupac say? What Tupac say? You have weapons for war, but can't feed the poor. What is it to have the most powerful weapon in the world? 500 military bases across the world, across the globe, bullying nations into subjugation, yet your own very own people don't get to reap the reward of your spoils of war. Your people live in a nation right now that are struggling, don't have adequate access to health care, education down the fucking drain, infrastructure to hell, babe. But you want to get on the stage and brag about having the most powerful weapon in the fucking world. What is to have the most powerful weapon in the world? You know what it's giving me? It's giving me big balls, giving me big ball, big dick energy, but you flaccid. With your 500 bases, like I say, across the globe, bullying other people while sacrificing your very own people from home. And when they come home, all them profits that y'all made from them war, they don't get to see a fucking dollar from them fucking profits. They don't get to see a fucking dollar. They out in the streets dealing with a mental health crisis. Your veterans that you sent out there to utilize all this powerful weaponry that you got out there come back to a home where they don't have a fucking home. And that's the fucking truth. And that's the fucking truth. And everything that I've just said right now, even your base would agree, boo. You fighting with China right now that literally lifted their people out of fucking poverty. Prioritized education. Prioritized healthcare. All the while you are bragging about a weapon that who's gonna fund besides the very people that you can't do the same for. You out here braggadocious about the most powerful weapon nobody has seen underneath the sun. That who gonna fund? The very people that you texted out of oblivion to pay for your hot ass military industrial complex budget, son? Nah, I'll tell you one thing. The most powerful weapon, the most powerful bullet or a bomb shouldn't mean shit to a nation that's struggling with houselessness, food insecurities, a mental health illness crisis, inadequate healthcare resources, inadequate access to healthcare. So answer me this, at the end of the day, what does the most powerful weapon in the world that nobody has seen before mean to a nation of fucking zombies? Coming from a nation of fucking zombies. So you can get on the stage and talk about the most powerful weapon in the world. I hope with those that fucking got sense and respect for themselves, it can literally register and not mean shit. Okay.
Hello now, welcome back. And I stand with every word spoken in this message because it calls out the very truth that many have tried to bury under slogans, distractions, and systemic illusions. The legacy of white supremacy hasn't only oppressed the black people, it has been weaponized against poor and working class white folks too. But they never saw that. They were blinded. And the cruelest trick that America ever played was convincing them that their whiteness was an asset, something to hold, even if it meant living in poverty, voting against their own interest and staying loyal to a system that never truly served them. And so this trade war with China is a symptom of a deeper disease, America's refusal to evolve economically, because it would require addressing racial inequality and labor exploitation head-on, while the Trump and others sport xenophobia and anti-China rhetoric to rile up the base. The truth is, China isn't the problem. The problem is homegrown. It's how America values branding over building. marketing over manufacturing, and illusion over infrastructure. The US got comfortable letting someone else to do the hard work because it wanted to preserve a white supremacist fantasy that labor is beneath certain people. That mindset is not only racist, it's self-defeating. They never saw this, but because of their hate, that's what they did. And see how racism has been used as a distraction, a smokescreen. Healthcare, housing, and education, environmental justice, fair wages. These are the things that benefit all people, yet somehow get labeled as handouts or socialism when the black demand them. So people are terrified. Why? Because people are terrified that if black folks or Latinos or immigrants get access to these things, they might have to share in the dream. And that fear has been masterfully exploited. It's a tragic how many have been taught to hate black more than they love their own freedom, their own health, and their own children's future. And so China's rise isn't magic, it's strategy. They embraced a labor, they built infrastructure, they also invested in productivity. Meanwhile, America is still stuck glorifying the idea of getting rich without getting your hands dirty. So it's deeply racialized economic mindset. Black people were once forced into labor, so the system now sees that kind of work as something to be avoided at all costs. But look where it has got the Americans. Bridges falling apart, hospitals closing, whole towns with no fresh food or clean water. You can't build a country of vibes and branding alone. I personally don't celebrate China's dominance to shame America. I point to it because it shows what is possible when you prioritize people, production, and planning over ego, capitalism, and white comfort. We've got people in America voting for billionaires who wouldn't piss on them if they were on fire, just because those billionaires whispers racist talk points in their ears. Meanwhile, the reset of the world is moving forward. That's not patriotism, it's delusion. And if America doesn't wake up, the crash won't just be economic, it will be moral, spiritual, and generational. To my people black, my brothers and sisters, stay sharp. You've always known the game was rigged, but now the mask is sleeping for everyone else. Let you keep on speaking the truth, organizing and demanding a country that reflects your labor, your brilliance, and your humanity. And to those who feeling the pain they once thought was reserved for black people, maybe now you'll see that the system that once choked, or even that has always been choking the black people, is choking you too. So let you tear it down together, or let you watch it fall apart around you people. Either way, the truth can't be unspoken, and the truth is the black people told you so. I don't know what you think about this video. Let's keep on having a talk. Let's keep on having a conversation in the comment section. I've been your presenter, Turain Shadrach, and if this was your first time in this channel, please consider supporting us by simply subscribing, give us a like, share our content. We greatly appreciate. Keep on supporting each other, keep on lifting each other. This is the least we can do for each other. Hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye.